Screw your freedom.
I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she is required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
That just gets better every time I hear it. I'm no giant Ted Cruz fan. Smart guy. Seems to have found his way from time to time. Would be nice if these guys would be more than just a frickin' mouthpiece and actually give a shit. Not about their career or their entitlements or benefits, but just did shit for the American people. You know, like our good buddy, Joe Biden. You know, asshole Joe. He knows. He knows nothing. Guess what this dumbtard said today, folks? And welcome to Two Screwed Tuesday. Get your questions down below, or email them in, or fly them in with a helicopter, whatever it takes. Man's at the helm with both the mighty blue wrench of pain for trolls, which is not a big deal here in the civilized world of the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. But yeah, he's here and he's going to be handling everything. And once again, the angry beaver checks into the house. That's right. Sometimes, you get the beaver fever. All right, moving on. Asshole Joe, right? This is his quote. The American people want us to work together. Really, the American people want Joe Biden and the Republicans in leadership to work together. Was that a ballot measure? Was that a referendum? Was that a campaign slogan? Folks, Joe knows nothing. First, he insults everybody. Yeah, stupid Republicans, right? Then he lies. Yeah, we're going to work together. Soon he's going to be begging. The guy's an idiot. I mean, folks, if there's no other reason than that, be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. Get prepared. Go to preparedmind.club. Buy all the ammo you can. We're going to run out tomorrow. There's a shortage. I'm kidding. But if you need ammo, go there. If you need long-term food storage, check the club. If you need body armor, check the club. Check prices, availability, quality of product, all those things. That's why we recommend things there. Now, enough pimping the hardware. Let's get into the software, the thinking, right? Representative Andy Biggs, Republican House of Representatives, says there are 20 firm, solid, no Kevin McCarthy, right? They do not want Rhino Republican out of California, Kevin McCarthy, to become the Speaker of the House. 20 firm, no votes means he will not be elected to that position. That would be good, folks. I don't care who gets it. It can't be worse than 90 proof freaking Nancy, can it? That cackling, just whatever the hell she is, right? Nancy Pelosi, gone. Any Republican can do better than Nancy. Any Republican can do better than Kevin McCarthy. We may as well put someone in there who's actually for the people. Kind of like Ted Cruz. Yeah, McCarthy's done a little things here and a little things there. He's managed to piss off the Democrats. But that, folks, is like putting delicious cake frosting on a cake made out of bullshit, right? It may cover up a little bit. It may knock down some of the smell, but Kevin McCarthy stinks. And this right now, this is your moment to shine. This is where your opinion matters way more than voting. It is your ability to influence political elected representatives after the election when they're in power. Now, it takes what to get a representative elected? Takes, I think, 200,000 votes, right? Each district is about 500,000 people, right? Represented all of America. So let's just say 1/5 don't vote at all. And the others, folks, the other 80% vote either Republican or Democrat. And so 200,000 out of the 500,000 people, right? You see how this is getting smaller, where you can get more. 200,000 elect him. But if only 1,000 people write them every single day and tell them what the hell's going on, gives them the riot act, reads them the third degree, yeah, that's where your voice gets really, really loud. I call this the second voting technique, where you vote with your mouth with social media, text, carrier pigeon, flaming arrow of niceness, not real arrows and not real fire, but political, spiritual fire. Send that to these jackasses and tell them, hey, we don't want Kevin McCarthy. Vote for someone who is pro-American, not a frickin' sellout, right? I mean, talk about sellouts. Oh, yeah. Let me remind you again. Get your questions in. This is your chance, Monday through Friday. Now, oh, here's another thing. Look, if you're a member of the club or subscribestar.com and you can't come here to the show live Monday through Friday, you can send in your questions, email them, post them, whatever it takes. Get your questions in. You know, you may come in an hour later, 2 hours. You may come in late every night and go, okay, time to watch. You can still get questions in, and we'll address them live. That is a huge benefit of being a member at the club or Subscribestar. Do it, right? Do it. Now, get this. Former Virginia State police officer tricks a minor, an underage girl, online. He catfishes her. Then he kills her entire family. And then he dies in a shootout with California deputy sheriffs. I want to ask one important question in this. Who does he have more in common with? Trump or any Democrat? Does he have more in common with this police officer with Representative Shifty Schiff or Trump? Eric Swallowswell or Trump? How about Democrat Representative Weiner? That's right, the laptop from Weiner was out there before we got the laptop from Hunter Biden. Who does this scumbag have more in common with? Hunter Biden or Trump? Joe Biden or Trump? Any Democrat has more in common with a former police or government official who wants to get it together with an underage girl, kill her entire family, and die, right, doing it in a shootout. You know, these are the type of people on the left, folks. The left, whatever, the political left. Here's another one, right? Mitch McConnell warns Trump that he is, quote, highly unlikely to ever be elected president of the U.S. Mitch, he has already been elected president of the United States back in 2016. But is this dinner with rapper Kanye West, formerly Kanye West, now known as Ye, and his guests, right? Because he had dinner with somebody. How many, Mitch? How many people have you had dinner with that we don't know about that would change the way people think about you? How many communists have you, Mitch McConnell, had dinner with? How many, Mitch? How many socialists have you had dinner with, Mitch? How many Chinese officials have you had dinner with, Mitch? How many of Jeffrey Epstein's associates have you had dinner with, Mitch? How many globalist corporate leaders have you kissed ass to at dinner, Mitch? Why don't you play a little, what do we call this? The transparency game. Give us some honesty, Mitch. No, you'll never get honesty out of Mitch the bitch. Not going to happen. Never, ever, ever will it happen. Get your questions in, folks. You should have many, because we are in Too Screwed Tuesday. Exactly. Too Screwed Tuesday. You want to see how screwed the whole system is, folks? I'll tell you, folks. This is how screwed we are. Elon Musk, owner of SpaceX. Elon Musk, owner of Tesla. Elon Musk, owner of Twitter. He says that he's going to expose, make public, be transparent about the, quote, free speech suppression that was used by Twitter. Now, folks, it's not just the suppression of speech. It's not just the violation of our free speech rights that Twitter was involved with. That's not what needs to be exposed. It's not just the suppression of speech. It's not just the rabid speech denial and the rabid enforcement against pro-freedom Americans. It's not just government desire to silence their oppositions. It is about government agencies and government individuals using their power to make use of private corporate power to silence nonviolent people like you, to silence non-criminal criticism of government policy and players. Folks, they're clearly doing what they could to harm the First Amendment from their government positions. Despite the First Amendment provisions and protections we have against the very thing, and all while pretending and all while lying to the public about who wanted to oppose and silence us. Right? The government pretended, oh, we don't have anything to do with these corporations like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. We're not trying to tell them what to do. Those are lies, folks. And those lies were presented as truth by Twitter and by Google and by YouTube and others. We need this exposed seriously, folks. Seriously. And I hope Elon Musk is good to his word on that. You know, we need to be as good to our word as we can, right? Now, this is important. And I will give some kudos here to Elon Musk, the strange one. Twitter, that's right, the same Elon Musk and the same Twitter are going to expose how government worked in collusion, in conspiracy with. That's right. They got together and secretly violated our rights, violated the provisions, the spirit of the First Amendment. Yep. And Twitter is now officially stopping. It's official, folks. They're stopping the enforcement of cerveza bug misinformation policy. In other words, if you're on Twitter, go talk about it, talk about the drugs, talk about the treatments, talk about the Jim Jones juice, talk about it all. Because apparently, cerveza bug misinformation, it's over, right? Elon Musk, right, told already the government in Alameda County, where his Tesla plant was in California, the Cali COVID commies, that he didn't give a shit about their rules back then. While there was massive lockdowns, Elon Musk was saying, get to work, get in the factory. People are like, oh, I'm scared. I don't want to go to work. I want free money, right? But Elon Musk didn't believe in the cerveza bug lie back then, and I don't think he does now. I don't think he does now. And speaking of the big lie, Australia, that's right, the country and continent down under. Australia is going to either cancel the thousands and tens of thousands of fines or even refund them. Tens and tens and tens of thousands of cerveza bug fines issued during the pandemic. Because, well, government liars, government officials, government agents are admitting that, well, you know, some were invalid. Hey, how about all of them were invalid? This is a big whoops or what the fuck, right? How about if you refund everyone, not just some? How about if you send out written apologies to everyone who was harassed, arrested, fined, imprisoned, incarcerated, sent to their stupid COVID camps? How many people in Australia have died because of the Jim Jones juice? How many people have committed suicide because they were locked down? How many people were psychologically traumatized by the Australian government and its efforts over the last 2 years to screw the people out of their rights? Well, I'll tell you what. For the Australian government, I've got a giant fuck you just sitting right here on my desk. Anytime you want, come and get it. Come and get it. We're waiting on you. Okay, very good, man. I got your message. Got it, and got it. Very good. Okay. Yikes. Yikes. Australia, folks. You can't walk to the store. You can't drive to the store. You can't be crowded in a store. Everyone has to go down the same aisle, the same direction, to keep the germs circulating. That's wrong, you being in public. But, hey, go to the beach and pose naked with 2,500 other idiot Australians, and you're fine. You won't catch cerveza bug that way. And, the worst criminals on the planet are people who won't wear their masks. Meanwhile, Disney Corporation that loves to host monkeypox gatherings. That's right, folks. You want the monkeypox in your bucks, right? You just go and head to Disney because they love the LGBT crowd. And not only that, but they made a new movie called Strange World. And it's going to go broke, folks. It is going to lose $147 million. So a big FU to Disney and a big FU to Democrats who have been pushing this woke trash. Seriously, folks, fuck you to Disney Corporation and fuck you to the Democrats for pushing this trash on children. They're trashy movies. They're trashy paraphernalia and toys. Their sick, perverted sense of morality, which is the opposite. It is anti-morality. Folks, that's exactly why the U.S. has gone straight into the SHTF toilet. Is Democrat policies, leftist policies. That's right, folks. The people who want MAPS, minor attracted persons, to be accepted in society and allowed to live out their sick fantasies and actually harm real children. They're pushing for it. Oh, by the way, they're also teachers, school administrators, school board members, and they're in your community pushing for pedophilia to be legalized. I got it. I got you, folks. I got you covered right here. And speaking of having you covered, right, I want you to take a wild freaking guess. Sponsored by the Jim Jones Juice. And there he is himself, the little booster rooster, right? Flight attendant in midair while working, has a heart attack and dies without warning. Anyone care to take a guess? Anyone? Bueller? Does anyone have a clue what could have killed a flight attendant? Remember, in order to fly, you have to have the Jim Jones juice and the appropriate number of boosters. In order to work for the airlines, they were going to fire their pilots, their flight attendants, their proctors, and probably their proctologists, and anyone who worked for the airlines, unless they got the Jim Jones juice. So what are we hearing about? Fucking pilots keeling over, flight attendants keeling over. How many people have gotten sick, feel like shit, had episodes, bad reactions, and just quit? That's on top of those who refused to take it and ended up getting fired. It's no wonder they've canceled so many flights. It's no wonder the airline industry could not make, folks, all of their schedules work. And they kept canceling flights and canceling flights and canceling flights and canceling flights. Could it be because there were so many negative reactions to the Jim Jones juice? Could it be? Well, I think it could be. I really do. Yeah. Now get this. You want to talk about how screwed in the head, too screwed for reality? Former Vice President, supreme loser Mike Pence. Guess what he did? He called on Trump to apologize because he had dinner with Ye, Kanye West. That's right. I know, Mike, you apologize first, though. I tell you what, maybe Trump will consider apologizing for having dinner with Ye, right? Who has made some, oh my gosh, he made some comments about Jewish people. Woo! Okay. Has anyone ever made any comments about the Germans, referring to Germans as Nazis when Nazis, we haven't had them in high positions of power out in front of the world since Hitler supposedly got shot in the head. Here we go, folks. Right? How many people make fun of other people, talk negatively about other people, but we're going to pick on Ye here? Why not pick on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Why not pick on Ilhan Omar, who make very public, very loud, politically charged and politically supported statements that are anti-Israel, anti-Jewish? Why are those ignored? But, ooh, you better apologize for sitting down and talking with Ye. Because Mike Pence, folks, is a sellout. You apologize for selling out our entire election system, you pile of trash. Right? Talk about the pot calling the kettle black here. Mike Pence, folks, is a perfect example of the virtue signaling, ass-kissing, egg-sucking rhino Republican. I don't want anyone to say, all you do is just talk about how good the Republicans are. Sorry. Nope, not in this case. Right? The people on the left, folks, are ass-kissing egg suckers. Here, let me give you another example. Her name is Andrea Shalal, and she is a White House press correspondent who works for Reuters. And she asked, the idiot, Karine Jean-Pierre, the spokestard for Biden, she asked her, how is the administration going to deal with Elon Musk and his free speech Twitter machine? It's so dangerous, right? How are they going to keep them in check? How are they going to monitor them was the big question. As if Twitter is going to become this right-wing bullhorn that people can't ignore. Folks, if you don't like Twitter, not only do you not have to open it and peruse it, not only do you can do that, you can just remove it from your freaking phone. You push the button and hold it until the delete icon appears, and then you push the delete button and whoosh, Twitter's gone. Like it never was. Right? Cat Turd. And if you remember, Cat Turd was physically, violently threatened by rhino Republican Adam Klitsinger, whatever the hell his name is, from Illinois. Threatened a cat. Where are all the animal lovers on that, by the way? Even if it's a comical cat, a cartoon cat, Cat Turd, who is a political satirist. Even Cat Turd, the world famous, folks, that's right, world famous, cynical, satirical commentator, he wrote, in response to this anti-American press idiot, Andrea Shalal, how are you in the White House going to deal with this Twitter nonsense, right? This is what Cat Turd says. These aren't real reporters. They are highly paid propagandists for the Democrat Party. The truth now only comes from citizen journalists. All mainstream news is lying garbage. Never has a cat or his turd spoken truer words. Citizen journalists. Who are they? Well, I'm a citizen satirist. And I would love to bring you the news, but I'm not allowed because I'm not an expert. And my opinion could wrongly persuade people to believe things that just aren't true because the fact checkers out there wouldn't like that. Well, let's hope that the Supreme Court stands up for satire, comedy, and parody, and education, and free speech in general. Let's find out. I guess we'll find out soon enough. I tell you. I want to thank Mr. Skylight for sending me a lot of information today. we've got the Dutch nitrogen minister. You got it, folks. A nitrogen minister. It's like, what? Yeah, they're going to seize. They're going to close 3,000 farms because they need to comply with the European Union environmental rules. Right? Does that sound like satire? Does that sound like a dangerous move to make with real political power? You see, me reporting as a citizen journalist things that are happening is nowhere near as destructive and dangerous as one single jackass in the small country of the Netherlands. The Dutchlands, the Deutschlands, right? That's right. It's absolutely right. One of them can do thousands, millions of times more damage than I ever could, but I must be silenced. Yeah, well, how do you think they're going to feed people? By closing down 3,000 farms. 3,000 farms. Now, I'm not allowed to speak because, I could be speaking lies. Well, Twitter, right, because they're getting rid of their Cerveza bug misleading information policy, that was based on an enormous Fauci lie, was it not? Do your homework, do your research. I mean, we got it right here. I may as well play it, right? He had nothing to do with nothing. He lied about safety. He lied about the efficacy, the effectiveness. He lied about sending children to schools with masks and masking people and sending people home. He's lied about everything. But we better do what he says.
Was it a mistake in so many states and so many localities to see schools closed as long as they were?
Well, I don't want to use the word mistake.
Well, did we pay too high a price?
There will be deleterious collateral consequences. If you go back, and I ask anybody to go back over the number of times that I've said we've got to do everything we can to keep the schools open, no one plays that clip. They always come back and say Fauci was responsible for closing schools. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed. I had nothing to do. The schools should be closed. Particularly in areas where there's community spread, the schools should be closed.
Oh, yeah. We need to take that man's word for it and keep the COVID-19 misleading information policy in place. No, sorry, it's done. Free speech, please. Please. Enough of that other stuff. Yeah. Now, in other non-news, take a wild freaking guess again. There he is, the little booster rooster jackass. Are you prepared, folks, for the negative consequences of Jim Jones juice? Who is it that we rely on to take care of us when there's an accident? Something happens at home, something happens while driving. Paramedics, right? First responders, paramedics, ambulance drivers. Well, so who do you think, like airline personnel, who do you think is wildly influenced, wildly pushed to get Cerveza bug, Jim Jones juice? That's right, folks. Ambulance drivers, paramedics, first aids, first responders. You bet. Well, a 23-year-old paramedic, ambulance driver, folks, paramedic, life-saving personnel, took the Jim Jones juice. Well, he dies, folks. 23-year-old died. Guess why? Cardiac arrest. He crashed his ambulance right into traffic. That's right. The drivers we need to be able to weave and bob and get through traffic so they can save lives was more than likely bobbing and weaving through traffic, had a heart attack, died. Who knows how many other people he hurt and crashed and caused even more ambulances to be needed. Yep, a 23-year-old. Take a wild guess. How hard is it, right? How hard is it to figure this out? I mean, seriously. Take a wild freaking guess. We talk about important people, folks, who have taken the Jim Jones juice. famous people, important people, athletes, people who should not be dying of heart attacks. Here we are. Country singer, country songwriter, 37-year-old, right? Died in his sleep after his wedding. Do you think his wife killed him with sex? Well, he's a country singer and songwriter. I'm sure he had plenty of sex, right? Jake Flint, right? A red dirt country singer, songwriter, hailing from Oklahoma, dead. Take a wild freaking guess. Questions, folks. Questions. It is now that time. Time for the Q&A.
Are you ready?
I tell you, folks, get your questions in. Get them into Uman now. He's ready for you. I don't want to let the little lying sack of shit off the hook. I'm talking about Dr. Fauci, who initiated SHTF with the global pandemic lie and his sponsorship, financial support, participation, and involvement, conspiratorially, by the way, with the Wuhan lab and the bat soup lie. You bet, folks. Dr. Fauci had this to say about China's current lockdown situation. China's demand that everyone get juicinated. Right? This little shit who says he's not responsible for kids, not responsible for... Right. Not responsible for nothing. Never lied. Always tells the truth. Well, you know, except when he has to change the truth to fit his science.
With COVID, I mean, the things that we thought we knew in the beginning turned out as the months went by to not be the case, which really forced us to adapt and to change some of our policies and recommendations. That was interpreted by many as flip-flopping or not really knowing what's going on, when it really was the evolution of the science.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
The best.
That's right. Fuck you, Dr. Fauci. That's when I said, folks, shit has hit the fan. They locked everyone down. I was like, that's it. Right. The spring of 2020 started the true SHTF. That little bastard says, quote, if the purpose is let's get all the people vaccinated, particularly the elderly, then okay. Folks, there is a sinister agenda. There is an evil agenda that is continuing to push to get the mRNA, Jim Jones juice, jabbed in everyone, particularly the elderly. And folks, don't let him fool you. It's particularly everybody. He says, let's get all the people vaccinated. Dr. Fauci, quote, if the purpose is let's get all the people vaccinated, then okay. Facts are facts, folks. And those are the words he spoke. All the people. Okay. He supports it. He's behind it. He's pushing it. Folks, we know the mortality rate of cerveza bug. It's weaker than the regular flu. So why? Why, Dr. Fauci? Why force people on it? Well, he supports the government using force, right? Fauci is for forced Jim Jones juice mandated in China. Why? Why is that okay? Do you think that Dr. Fauci says, well, that's good for China, but no, I would never want that in America? How many times did he deny? Well, we don't want to mandate it, but we may have to because, you know, it's so deadly. There is no zero, zip, zilch, nada. There's no justification for mandated crap, folks, other than total government control. These mandates being shoved on the people. If Dr. A-hole Fauci wants it for China, folks, he wants it for the USA. Wake up now. Prepare now. You better fight now, or you will get your clot shot at some point. Once again, how do you vote? On Election Day. What's the other way that you vote and influence government and the direction it takes? You write, call, smoke signal, carrier pigeon, email, comment, everything you can to your representatives. Your voice is actually louder and more important after the election. After the election, you can make even more noise and cause more influence after the election. The election is step one. Why do people think that after step one, there's no more steps? Well, I got no more control over my life. I voted and that's all I got. Sorry, you've got a lot more. Everyone from the local, state to the federal level, you can call, write, and just give them hell. And you should. Prep to action. I'm telling you, folks, I want to see you protect yourselves. Let's do this. I'm picking on Fauci, and let's see what you guys want to talk about. We have Ooman stepping in. He says, Christine Bahana asks, where do you think things are going with all the lawsuits flying around from both Kari Lake and Katie Hobbs in Arizona? The latest I heard is Hobbs is threatening counties with Class 6 felonies for not certifying their Nintendo games. I'll tell you what, Katie Hobbs is threatening. She's threatening to sue, threatening to prosecute because they will not certify. This is a genuine threat. It is not a toothless threat, but it is a brainless threat. You see, there are rules for certification. If all of the criteria are met, then they must certify the results. If the criteria have not been met or substantial rules violations have been committed, then an election can be deemed corrupt, inadequate, right? And they will not certify. Must they certify things if someone were to have unduly influenced a Nintendo game, cheated? Do they have to certify cheated results? Well, if that's the case, why don't we as Republicans cheat? Why don't we as Republicans vote 20 times each? Why don't we as Republicans certify awful, terrible, obnoxious, and illegal, right, vote counts for Nintendo? Why don't we do that? Well, because, right, it's against the law. It's criminal. But yeah, Katie Hobbs is threatening counties with this. And Kari Lake, to address the other side of your question, Kari Lake, the Republican, said she's not going to quit. She's not going to give up because she believes she has a case, right? I will not quit. There's her quote. Lawsuits are coming on their way. And they should, folks. Why shouldn't they? Right? I mean, Katie Hobbs, who is, folks, by the way, been found to be an absolute terrifyingly bad human being, a racist, an openly racist person. You know, should that disqualify her as a candidate? No. But as a Democrat, I guess that is a resume enhancer. She campaigned like Joe Biden from hiding. She would not debate because she's really not that bright. Whereas Kari Lake is pretty sharp, pretty witty, right? Is not a basement dweller. She was at rallies constantly. So how is it that with what was it, 15% or 18% of the entire voting population was Democrat? Somehow Katie Hobbs got more than 50% of the overall vote? Really? Buying that one. Yeah, there's lawsuits are going to be flying, and they should. This needs more sunshine, more public exposure, not less. It needs to take up the entire news cycle. It needs to be, what do we want to call it? Justified, given credibility. If it was a Democrat who had a complaint, do you think the news would ignore them? If it was obvious that a Republican won the Nintendo game by cheating, do you think the media would just stand by and go, this is just fine? No, they wouldn't. They really wouldn't. Thank you, Uman, and thank you, Christine B. Hanna, very much for that. It's a great subject. It's one that, well, YouTube says, John, you got to be careful what you talk about. Don't be talking about Nintendo like that. Get yourself in trouble, buddy. Get yourself put in the dunce corner with the hat, the big pointy hat. Call that the Katie Hobbs corner. All right, man, we got some more questions coming from you guys, and it is none other than Heidi. It says, man, I saw where Black Friday was the most dismal in years. Nobody was out shopping it like it used to be. I read that as well in several places, Heidi, that, the shopping wasn't that great. Well, could it be that they started Black Friday shopping like 2 weeks before Black Friday? Well, remember when they interrupted Black Friday with Cyber Monday? And then they didn't wait till Friday for Black Friday sales. They started what? They started them at midnight, in the middle of the night. People, it's ridiculous. But if Americans don't have money, spare change, disposable income, they're not going to be doing a whole lot of Black Friday shopping. But yeah, they started early. They started Cyber Monday, I'm sure that, 2 Mondays early as well. And they're going to continue this incessant push to promote and market to us to buy. But if, folks, the economy is taking a shit, then you can bet that it's going to take a really big shit. I have to check the YouTube demographics, if they'll even let me in anymore. They've been hiding their demographics more and more and more. Who is watching? Who is paying? What advertisers are there? They're protecting themselves, folks, because they know that the system is taking a shit. Local channels on TV, cable channels, they know what they're getting paid. Because in order to advertise, they bid. Like if someone wanted to advertise on the Prepared Mind channel, they would have to say, what's it cost? And if I say, well, I've only got, 3 time slots and 6 companies want it, well, you guys go ahead and figure it out. Bid amongst yourselves for those time slots. And that causes the price to go up in advertising. Now, I'll tell you, the Prepared Mind advertising is probably like 0.001 of a penny, right, to run a commercial. It's got to be some phenomenally low number. They don't want to pay us, but they know what they're getting paid, and those numbers are coming down. People are not going out shopping, Heidi, and companies are not spending money on advertising because it's not being rewarded. And I'm certain that on the internet, companies are not wanting to spend money because they don't trust companies like Twitter, who have been exposed for having bots do the watching and bots do the commenting. In other words, it's computer versus computer. And computers cannot go out and spend money on toothpaste. They can't go out and spend money on feminine hygiene products. They can't go out and spend money, folks, on Viagra. They're computers. They can't buy anything. So all that advertising revenue is being generated and passed around and paid to Twitter. This is before Elon Musk, by the way. All that was going on at a time when, right, money was free, it was freely flowing, and they didn't care who was or wasn't watching their stupid commercials. Well, now we know. Nobody was out shopping like it used to be, says Heidi, and no one is out advertising like they used to, and people don't have disposable income. Expect it to get worse. It's going to get worse, folks. Not because I want it to. I say that because that is what I see happening. Right? Chance favors the prepared mind. You don't believe what's on the news because, well, the news is a bunch of propaganda and garbage, like Cat Turd says. So we have to find our own information. All right. Thank you again, Heidi. And who would be next in the program? We've got about 15 minutes left. Now, Uman says, wonder what these Super Bowl commercials will go for or look like this year. Let me address this 2-part question, 2-part statement. Again, you don't have to ask a question with a question mark. You can make a statement about society, culture, law, the military, education. You can make a statement about the future, the past. You can make comparisons, observations, and share them. That's what this question and answer is about, is getting your ideas up here so that everybody can think about it. And I just think it's an absolute terrific program that we have. Now, Super Bowl commercials. Super Bowl. Super Bowl commercials, I think, got up to $2 million for a 30-second spot. 30 seconds of Super Bowl advertisement. I remember when it went up to, it was like $250,000 per 30 seconds, and then $500,000, and then $1 million. I don't know what it got up to, but I can tell you right now, I bet it's a lot lower than it was. Right? What was it? The dot-com excitement, right? Way back in 99 and then 2000, that Super Bowl, before the dot-com bust. You had every dot-com company on the planet. I think at that point, it was $500,000 for 30 seconds. They were just going absolutely nuts, paying for commercials on the Super Bowl. And the commercials had a lot of money poured into them to create good advertising, good marketing, and good promotion of their companies. What kind of commercials do we get now? If anything, it's a bunch of CGI stupidity. Some no-name people on TV, right? But they're presented like they're somebody. It's all a bunch of fake plastic banana, good time, rock and roll bullshit with CGI. I'm so tired of someone jumping and landing in a different country or snapping their fingers and all of a sudden they're wearing different clothes. Who gives a fuck? That is not clever and creative. And it's a bunch of virtue signaling crap as well. Right? What happened to the beer commercials where the marginally attractive male sips on the promoted beer and hyper attractive women just can't get enough of the guy? Right? Now that's marketing and that's sale, right? Selling a product that doesn't do any of that for you, right? They would do some clever, funny stuff, right? Spuds McKenzie, right? A fucking dog selling beer. Great. Alex from Stroh's, you bet. There used to be commercials you could laugh at. They could build in a 30-second commercial a lot of tension and excitement and anticipation for whatever the product was. And wow, you're like, that's a good commercial. Funny, entertaining, clever. Now it's a bunch of woke shit. With a bunch of virtue signaling crap. That's what I'm expecting, man. It's going to look like crap. It's going to smell like crap. And I bet it's going to be priced just like crap. Who's going to watch the Super Bowl? I don't even know who the hell is playing well this year. And frankly, I don't care. Fuck the NFL. All right. All right, man. What do we got next? I think we got a couple questions, and I've got some more shit I want to cover as well. Mikey G has a question. He says, any updates on the animals, fish, and insects going in circles for 5 days? Let's go back to that one. I got scrambled up there, man. He says, maybe 5G, maybe the pole shift and magnetic reversal. Well, that's a great question. Animals, fish, insects being confused, going the wrong direction at the wrong times of year, the wrong direction altogether. The question always was, how do these pigeons, homing pigeons, carrier pigeons, how do these animals know to migrate south and north? And it was widely assumed that it had something to do with the magnetic attraction of the North Pole. Right, that the fish and the birds and other animals, they could tell where they were at in relation to the North Pole, and therefore they knew where to go to get there. Could it be 5G? That is strong signals, folks, coming from cellular towers that are causing animals confusion, problems, right? It's disorienting them. It could be, except we've had 5G for some time now. So maybe it's pole shift, magnetic reversal altogether. Now, that has happened in the past, folks. We've had pole shift, and also the North Pole has been drifting away from the, shall we call, axial rotation point. Where the Santa Pole is stuck in the Arctic ice. You got the Arctic pole, and then the magnetic North Pole is like 10 degrees off. It's a big whoops situation. Could it flicker on and off? Could it move, rotate really far and confuse animals? Could 5G combined with that be responsible? I don't know, but I would guess that it's a combination of many things. Could it be, well, I'm not saying it's aliens, folks, but it's aliens. Yeah, the alien question. Could it be the alien sending signals? How about this? Could it be God? Or could it be Satan? I don't know, but we know there's a problem, folks, and that's why I say get prepared. All right, let's move on. This next one intrigued me when I first heard it. This question, it popped up very briefly, and it wasn't Jason Walker's thing, but he has a statement. He says, weather in central Mississippi could get real bad tonight. I will be battening down the hatches in the bunker, folks. He says, yeah, central Mississippi could get real bad tonight. Hail, tornadoes, and high wind like the world isn't fucked up enough. Tell you what, Jason, it is our turn in the barrel. That's really what's going on. California has earthquakes. Hawaii has a volcano. Not good, right? Florida has hurricanes. So do a lot of other states. But Mississippi now has got a big nasty coming. I can't help, even though the evidence is scant because the government lies, even though the government has admitted, including the military, that they want to use weather as a weapon, control and manipulate weather. And who do they love to punish? Right? Every country has always punished their own people more than others. Folks, the Soviet Union killed more of their own citizens than they ever killed foreign enemies. Even when they were fighting the Nazis, the Soviet Union, Russia, killed more of their own people than they killed of Nazis. Believe it, because it's real. All right, yeah, so they hate their own people. So who would be better to punish with a weather weapon than your own people? That's kind of how I think about it. Once again. All right, man, who do we have next? I know we got some good stuff. I know it. And this is it. Who's your life? And who's your daddy? He says, you need to expand your platform. Joe Rogan show, Tucker tonight. Other people need to hear you're very intelligent and able to grab an audience. I tell you what, man, I would love to go on the Joe Rogan show. I'd love that. I would love the exposure. Same with Tucker, right? Hell, I'd go on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. I would I would like that. I would like to expand the platform. We've reached out and continue to reach out. Mr. T, who does our promotional stuff, has reached out. I've had other people contact me. I've gone on the radio, a couple of small syndicated radio shows. But you know what? They just don't seem to be that interested. They have their own shtick. They have their own audience that they cater to. And I tell you what, I really believe that they would look at this show. They would vet it, meaning they would check it out, investigate it. And the Joe Rogan show would go, yeah, John, he's a little radical, doesn't really fit our mold and our motto. I don't know if we want him. I think they could have a good time talking to me. Obviously, and everyone knows this, I would be called out, right? How could you have that guy on there? He's such a misogynist. No, I'm just anti-feminist. How can you have him on there? He's such a homophobe. No, I'm pro-hetero. The homos can do whatever the hell they want. And obviously they are. Obviously they are. Just check out the monkeypox numbers. They're doing whatever they want, folks. Sick bunch of fruitcakes. In fact, speaking of sick bunch of fruitcakes, yes. You guys are all aware, right? You're all aware of the fruitcake, right? The super duper fruitcake, the Light and the Loafers screwball. I'm not even going to say his name. Was arrested. He's being charged with felony theft, right? Felony grand theft. This is the fruitcake who is part of the energy, right? The Department of Energy, a high up muckety muck. Department of Energy is a trans queer drag queen fruitcake whose boyfriend he puts in a leather dog mask and parades him around. He's very public, very vocal, likes to wear dresses. His name is Matt something or other. He's got a bald head and he wears dresses and he wants everyone to deal with his shit and put up with it. It gets him off, folks, to stand up in front of the world and say, look who I am, right? Well, They got him on camera stealing a lady's luggage. This guy makes how many hundreds of thousands of dollars as a federal employee? And all the benefits, the retirement, the medical, the dental, I'm sure the anal, and every other, medical attention this clown needs, right? I'm sure of it. Steals another lady's bag, tears the name tag off, and carries it out of the airport. Somewhere up in Minnesota is where this happened. He's been arrested, and he's being charged with grand theft, right? Because that bag had like $2,500 or $3,500 worth of goodies in it, probably jewelry, clothes, and makeup. I guess the little light in the loafers ding dong just couldn't resist. The little kleptomaniac of government. And kleptomaniac people is someone who can't help but steal every chance they get. Right? This little clown has stolen the virtue of office and trounced it. Right? He steals from everyone all the time. I know he does. He just finally got caught. Very interesting shit. All right, we got a comment, we got a joke. Oh man, what do you want to throw at me next? Mall of America, Mao. Christine Bahana says, one more thing, I've lost track of the number of gunshots that went off in Minneapolis since I've been here. Oh, Christine's up in Minnesota. She says, my friend's house is in Bloomington, 1/2 block from the Mall of America. The MOA, Mall of America. Mall of America is like the giant, biggest, greatest, hugest mall. It's got like a carnival inside of it. And I think the Mall of America has become, well, symbolic of the failure of the American retail capitalist system. Because it's not truly a capitalist system. It's more of a, corporatist, globalist system. And they've fucked everything up, folks. People used to go to malls to buy what they needed, and it was interesting. Malls used to have, folks, what they call anchor stores, like Sears or Macy's or Nordstrom's. But they would also have all kinds of little mom and pop specialty shops, right? You could have these 4 big stores, but then you would have dozens and dozens of these little specialty stores. Why did that get destroyed? Kmart, Walmart, Amazon, Target. That's right, folks. They killed themselves. They truly did. They killed themselves. But they want to kill everything, folks. Get this. Remember, folks, that left-wing lunatics, like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and every single Democrat, those type of lunatics blamed Trump and blamed Republicans for the gay club shooting by a non-binary killer. So what did they do, folks? They blame us. They blame everyone. And they've gone after a place called Focus on the Family, which is a pro-Christian group organization. And they vandalized their headquarters. Because that's right, folks, the left-wing lunatics promoted the idea that, these killings by weirdos of other weirdos is it's the Republicans' fault. So they spray painted, quote, their blood is on your hands, quote, and here's another one, quote, 5 lives taken. Who cares how many lives were taken, right? Whether it was 5 or 10, right? Who did it, right? Who's responsible? The person who used the gun, they're responsible. The Club Q shooting. How tragic was it? Well, the mainstream media will tell you it's very tragic. We need to have a day of remembrance, right? The killer, folks, is going by the name MX. Instead of Mr. or Mrs., it's MX. Anderson Lee Aldrich. Right? This is the same jackass who threatened to bomb his own mother's house. Typical conservative thinking there, right? He's non-binary. He's MX. So you know that he's a real hardcore traditional conservative. Not a freaking chance, folks. Was this a false flag, this attack on the Focus on the Family headquarters? Was it a false flag, or was it a truly an infantile, brain-dead, left socialist, light in the loafers sissy attack? Throwing a throwing a giant fit, right? A giant imbecilic, infantile fit and vandalizing Focus on the Family. Unbelievable, folks. What's wrong with these folks? And they're not done. They're not going to quit. Shit is the fan is far from over. It's just started, right? And the proponent who helped get it all kicked off, Dr. Fauci, says, yeah, all the people need to get the Jim Jones juice. He's okay with it. I want to thank you for being part of the show. I want to thank you for joining in. I want to thank you for your questions, comments, thoughts, for sharing ideas in the comment section, not only with me, but with everyone else. It's a lot of fun. And Jason Walker says, maybe the animals identify as NASCAR drivers. What animals are we talking about? I love it. It's like walking up to a party and it's been going on for half an hour and everyone else knows what the hell's going on, but you don't. All right, folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Get your questions in anytime so you can be a part of the live discussion every day. But next, you'll see me on 0dark30. Until then, folks, Semper Fi, chance favors the prepared mind, and God bless America.
Are you ready?
Of course you're ready. You're a threat.
I thought I was going to get through a show without a screw up.